I lost 100 pounds in 2 years, and here's how I did it.
Wow, 100 pounds? That's a life-changing transformation. Hi, I'm Adam, and I've been helping people lose weight in sustainable ways for almost 10 years. Normally, I don't like putting a timeline on things like this because everyone loses weight at their own speed, and hell, this is not a race. But this isn't unrealistic. It's an average of about a pound a week. Sustainable lifestyle choices can help you get there. So what can you tell me?
This was me about 2 years ago, and this is me a few days ago.
Is this 100 pounds? I don't know. I'm not here to call anyone a liar, but I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes people exaggerate. Saying I lost 100 pounds in a video like this is probably going to get more views than saying I lost 65 pounds. But both are accomplishments. You don't need to reach a milestone like that to be proud of your progress. Anyway, the number doesn't matter. Let's talk about what you did to get there.
I didn't turn into a health freak. I didn't start counting every single calorie.
Good for you. A lot of people, when they start a new journey like this, they immediately gain an all or nothing mindset and try to go from 0 to 100 with health habits that they're just not used to. But that often backfires because they just get overwhelmed with the process and quickly they just burn out. So what did you do to slowly work your way in?
I started by just working out 5 to 6 times a week.
Oh, is that all? 5 to 6 times a week? Listen, good for you. Seriously, that's very dedicated. But if you're watching this, you don't need to go that far right away. 2 to 3 times a week is perfectly fine, especially if you're coming from a sedentary lifestyle. And it's really important to know that you should not go into these workouts thinking, this is what's going to help me lose weight. That mindset, which you've probably had your whole life, is what's made you so inconsistent in the past. What happens is you exercise just to burn calories, and then since exercise really doesn't burn that many calories, you don't see weight loss, so you just say, screw it, well, why am I even trying? Exercise is important for a lot of reasons. You should do it, but think of it more as a form of self-care than just a way to lose weight. What is going to help you lose weight is...
I completely changed my diet.
Yeah, that's it, your nutrition. So what sustainable changes did you make?
I had to look at what I was doing and eating that was causing me to be unhealthy and overweight.
First of all, I've got to help fight the stigma here and point out that the words overweight and unhealthy aren't synonymous. They don't mean the same thing. You might assume that because you were in a bigger body and not engaging in health-promoting behaviors, that fat people as a whole must also not be doing that, but that's not true. Body diversity is a real thing. Someone can eat nutritious foods and be active and still be in a bigger body, just like someone might not do any of that and be thin. It's just that diet culture has conditioned us to believe that fat bodies are bad bodies, lazy bodies, but that's just not always true. Anyway, tell me more.
I would eat out most days, and then after eating out, I would take a long nap.
To be honest, that sounds pretty great.
That obviously all had to come to an end, and I cut out all outside food. I would only eat my mom's food or things that I would cook.
Do you remember at the beginning of this video when I said that people often get this all or nothing mentality? This is a great demonstration of that. You went from eating out most days to cutting out all outside food and only eating food made at home. All or nothing, right? And if it worked for you, that's fine. Although it's worth pointing out that just because you cook food at home doesn't necessarily mean it's more nutritious or lower calorie than a meal at a restaurant. And me personally, I do want to be able to take my partner out to a nice restaurant, enjoy a birthday party with friends, or even just roll through a drive-thru one day when I'm craving it. Creating rigid rules like I'm never going to eat anything I haven't cooked myself can worsen your relationship with food and make you feel anxious about it. And the minute you break a rule like that, you're gonna feel like you've screwed everything up. Instead, why don't we make a for the most part statement? Something like, I'm going to prioritize cooking nutritious meals at home for the most part, but I'll allow myself the flexibility to enjoy outside food occasionally when it feels right. Doesn't that immediately make you feel less anxious about your choices?
Another thing that I did was I never ate late at night. This was partially because I was fasting. I would eat around 5 o'clock before I would work out, and then I would eat the next morning before school.
Folks, eating at night doesn't make or keep you fat. Weight gain only happens if you're overeating, which can happen at night, but it's not going to happen in one night when you decided to have a sandwich at 5:03 p.m.
When you fast, you're allowing your body to burn through fat faster.
What? Fasting is just a more restrictive way of putting yourself in a calorie deficit. I don't recommend it because it can often lead to excessive hunger and overeating. If you like it, maybe you're not a breakfast person, that's fine, but there's nothing special about it.
My biggest advice would be to look at the unhealthy things you're doing and eating and what alternatives you can switch them out for.
Unhealthy is a little subjective here, but we definitely need to look at behaviors and habits we can change. How about unhealthy thoughts? Do you agree that should be just as much of a priority? Thoughts drive actions, so improving a poor relationship with food or exercise, in my opinion, is even more of a priority. It's why I've talked about it so much today.
Something that I've become very strict on myself as of late is drinking more water. I drink about 3 to 4 of these every day. I've noticed a huge difference in my stomach and my digestion from drinking more water.
Yes, we love drinking more water. That's a habit you should adopt. But again, being strict about it makes it feel like a punishment. Find an emotional support water bottle and fill it up a few times a day. You can set it right next to your Coke Zero and alternate between them. It doesn't have to be a chore. Here's your takeaway. Weight loss doesn't have to be miserable. Start to adopt some realistic habits and stick with them for the most part.